So in this video, I just wanted to share how inspired I've been watching some people I follow recently sharing their stories and journeys around authenticity, and in a really authentic way, which got me thinking that one of my top values is authenticity. And I realised that I often struggle coming onto social media, or I find it challenging to come onto social media in the most authentic way. I often think about, am I wearing the right clothes? Have I got a polished script? Have I got makeup on? All those things. Is my lighting okay? And it gets to a point where it's almost, I don't then end up doing it. So I was thinking about authenticity, a top value, and this sort of challenge that I have to show up on here in my most authentic way. And I reflected on my sun sign being a Virgo, my moon is in Libra, and my rising is Taurus. So part of me, the Virgo part of me, likes perfection. It wants to have a script. That part of me wants it to be perfect. The Libra, Taurus side of me wants it to be aesthetic and to look aesthetically pleasing. And that just made me think, or giggle, and think that is so true. But what happens there is that when I'm in that place, it doesn't get done. So understanding that part of me, and that is who I am, and not scolding that part of me, but embracing that part of me and thanking that part of me for showing me that it's okay to show up here in my cozy jumper without makeup on, without straightening my hair, without a polished script. I don't have a script today. And that is absolutely okay to do. And I started reflecting on my journey from, to where I am now around this top value of authenticity and how it's really weaved itself into my life. Being authentic has been quite a journey, I think, for me, and my life has allowed me to see like the polarities that life, we live in a duality world, a world of duality, polarity. And when I was younger, I was this child who used to, sing to angels and the stars in her head or out loud in her room, and who grew then to be absolutely fascinated and enthralled by astrology. I had a book with longitude and latitude, so I could work out the rising signs of for myself and my family and from friends. We didn't have Google back then. And then came tarot, and my love for tarot around 12 or 13, and another tool of self-discovery, both tarot and astrology offer those. And those tools of self-discovery really show us our authentic selves, and not to be ashamed or to hide or repress those parts of ourselves. However, part of my journey was actually repressing that part of myself. I think it was around 21, 22 maybe, when I just put away my tarot and I closed that part of me. I felt like I didn't belong. I felt like I didn't fit in. And for me, it meant abandoning that part of myself and abandoning my authenticity, that person who I was, that authentic part of me, which I believed didn't fit into the world, didn't fit into society, And at the time I had, I had great friends, and I still have friends from those from back then, but I didn't have my tribe and my community that I do now. And I hid that part. I literally remember saying, I am going to put this part of me away. And I went into, after I travelled for a couple of years, I went into advertising, and that was another journey in itself. And I experienced probably the polarity of authenticity, not in terms of the people. I met some extraordinary people and some incredible people, but I guess the work itself, I didn't find authentic. And then fast forward many years later to about 7.5 years ago, when I experienced a couple of challenges in my life which led to burnout. But underneath that burnout was this beautiful gift, and this rebirth. And actually what it reminds me of is my 55th gene key. So I have the 55th and 59th gene keys, and the 55th represents the dragonfly's dream. And this is what it makes me smile, because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share the story of the dragonfly, and you might know this already, but it really resonates with me and how my life has unfolded. Because the 55th gene key is a dragonfly's dream, and the dragonfly begins its life underwater. It begins its life as a nymph. It has this experience of just this incredible world underwater, and it's living its best life, and then one day its internal guidance system, its internal compass guides it to move out of the water, the place where it's all it's ever known, onto a rock or on a leaf or wherever, safe from predators. And it begins its next part of its journey. It's there for a bit, and then begins its metamorphosis, which is different to that of the butterfly, but it then unfurls its wings and begins the next phase of its life. A dragonfly in the air, seeing life in a completely different element, going from the element of water to air, and experiencing life from a completely different perspective as well. And when I began to learn about my gene keys, I remember laughing, really thinking, wow, that could not resonate any more than it does, because that feels like my life, and that's where it's brought me as well, and how it's unfolded for me. It really does feel like I experienced this beautiful life in a very different element, and the second phase of my life has been this incredible rebirth and experience from a different perspective. So yeah, and I have brought all that I had abandoned and repressed back into my life, and have been expressing it in my life, in my work and my business, in the most authentic way that I feel. And yeah, it feels time for me to express that authentically on social media as well, through through communication, through my voice, and not just through my posts, but through me as well as a person. So I just wanted to share that story with you today. and be able to come up here in my comfy jumper with my hair unstraightened and without a polished script. So thank you for listening. If you're still here listening to this, thank you for listening to my story, and I'd love you to share anything, if you have anything to share about your own journey, your thoughts around authenticity as well, how it feels to show up for you authentically, and if there's been any challenges around that as well for you. My intention is to continue showing up on here on social media and sharing a little bit more from my heart. From my heart. And just noticing when my perfectionism and my Libra people pleasing, noticing those parts of me that come up and letting them know it's okay, because I'm here on my mission and on my journey. I'm here to also share it with others. Sending you all so much love. Bye for now.